Hey guys, I'm Sebastian.
I'm Christine.
This is Ninth Island Connection, but you already knew that already. Check out the description below so that you can see how you can watch our television show wherever you are.
And if you don't already follow us on social media, please do. We post a lot of updates on Vegas there as well. We're everywhere. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. I don't know what else is out
we're
there.
TikToking also.
Oh, yes. Can't forget TikTok. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
We also go live every single Wednesday between the hours of noon and 1 p.m. Vegas time, where we bring you an update on what to expect that upcoming weekend. So we go live on Wednesday, and we let you know what's up in Vegas on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday if it's a long weekend. And we're talking everything: weather, pool parties, construction, traffic delays at the airport, what to expect while you're here in town so you can have the best possible time.
Although my husband is so adorable to look at, I'm sure you guys would rather see Vegas, so let's get to the video. This is a unique video since it's still a little unbelievable for us, but from January 3rd through the 6th of May, we actually have stayed 40 nights on the Strip. So in this video, we are going to share that with you guys, but we're also going to share that there's just so much to do. Even in 40 days, there's just still so many things that we didn't get to do during our time on the Strip.
But this video isn't just about us and our stays. What we want to share with you in this video and why we're making it is because we know that there are many of you that come here for extended periods of time, and there's so much to do. We want to share that with you. So why have we spent so much time on the Strip this year? Of course, we're always getting YouTube content and we are reporting on changes, but there are lots of reasons, and not just for gambling. Well, we do gamble some, although I always say we're not a gambling channel.
All right, heading into January, we spent the holidays in Florida with family, so we of course came in hot, flying right into a 2-night staycation at the Cromwell. Now this was scheduled partially due to a tier credit multiplier, but we also really just missed Vegas. We like the Cromwell because it's just a small, kind of quiet boutique hotel and a small casino, and it has such a great location. Unfortunately, we did not get the room that we booked. We actually booked a 1 king and they only had 2 queens available, and the room that we were in was kind of run down, not typical of the Cromwell, but we had a good time anyway.
We actually took a short break, a very short break. We stayed at home for about a week, and then we planned a 2-night staycation. 1 night at Horseshoe and the next at Versailles. It's easy because they're both really, it's just Horseshoe. And this was pretty much just because we wanted to stay at Versailles, which it was a really nice room. And technically it is Paris, but it's located inside of Horseshoe, so you might as well just stay at Horseshoe. Check out the room tour that we did. While staying here, we actually did get busted by security for filming. This has never happened before. We were just walking through the casino and through the property, and 3 different security guards showed up, and they were like, "What are you guys doing? You're filming cameras," and you know, all kinds of nonsense, but whatever. The cool thing was that All Red opened during that time, and we were able to check it out. It's a super cool place. Definitely expect Vegas prices though. After that, we had another 2 nights, and we decided to extend our stay to the real Paris. This was because it's just a quick, easy walk. You know that Paris and Horseshoe are connected. You don't have to drive, you don't have to switch hotels, again, because they're connected, and it is the same parking lot. Paris is definitely a fun place to stay, and thankfully close to the Miracle Mile shops at Planet Hollywood, because we actually needed some clothes. We did it back for 4 nights, and we wound up being there for 4 nights.
We actually then headed home for 3 nights and then headed back, this time to Caesars. This was to just kind of partially chill and partially gamble because there was a rewards and a tier credit multiplier during our stay there. We just love Caesars because you really don't have to leave. Our last stay in January was over at Flamingo. Even though it's old and it's definitely not fancy, we just love the Flamingo. We stayed this time for 3 nights, 2 because there was a tier and reward credit multiplier happening. We were also able to get a comp suite, so that was pretty sweet. Here's a little peek at what that looked like, and we also did a room tour, so check that out. But during our stay, we did have to do a little bit of work. We filmed over at Fontainebleau and interviewed the executive chef there, Patrick Munster, and we also did some filming in the kitchen. And of course, the best part of shooting in restaurants is they send you home with the food. We took home that. So this stay totaled 11 out of 31 days in January. So yes, 1/3 of the month we spent on the Strip.
Now we're heading into February. We stayed back at home for 4 days and then checked into Planet Hollywood for 2 nights. The first was just for fun, but day 2, we actually had work to do. We had to film over at Luxor and the new Playground. This is an adult playground with immersive hands-on games and a full bar that's tons of fun. Then we headed over to shoot number 2, Fontainebleau. We created a full episode about this property, and while we love when we can get it all done in one day at a location, it doesn't always work that way. But Fontainebleau is such a nice property. It's not a bad time to get back there and have to go there more than once. We also wanted to stay before Super Bowl because we knew it was going to be crazy and we wanted to check it out. The Strip was all decorated, which was super cool. We definitely wanted to see this before it got too crazy busy.
Plus, we knew we'd be back, and we were after a week. We went back and stayed at the Flamingo and had a suite that was old, but this room had the best view of the Strip that we have ever had. Check out that room tour for more information. We had planned to stay 2 nights for the tier and reward credit multipliers, but actually ended up extending to 3 days, even though we had to switch rooms. We had a shoot over at Caesar's Forum Shops at the Park West Art Gallery that morning of our 3rd day. There are actually 2 locations of the Park West Art Gallery there, and it's a really cool place. It's free to enter, and you can actually do a self-guided tour, or the staff is happy to provide tours and information on the art there. After our shoot, we headed back, changed rooms, and it was all fun from there.
After 5 days back at home, we headed back to the Strip because Disco was in town. She came to visit. We stayed 2 nights at Horseshoe since she had never stayed there before. Even though we stayed there though, we were all over the place since Horseshoe is a great center Strip location. Now, our last day in February was on Leap Year Day, so it was memorable and we definitely wanted to make sure that we were down on the Strip. We stayed at Harrah's. Now, we love to hang out at Harrah's. We do gamble there all the time, but it's not usually our first choice because the rooms are a little bit smaller, but they are nice, newly renovated. They also do not have a refrigerator though. We did have to do some filming at Venetian, so it's nice to be at Harrah's because it's right next door. So yes, this stay was for work since we typically avoid staying on the Strip Thursday or Friday because it's always busier. We did have an event though that we had to go to at our friend's new business up in Spring Mountain, Go Crane. There are games, you buy tokens, you put them in, you win toys. It's really a fun stop. The next morning we had to head over to the Grand Canal Shops and film for the show. We filmed over at Madame Tussauds and Panic Escape Room, along with just getting some general B-roll. We also shared this on our YouTube channel, so check us out.
After being home 2 nights, we were back on the Strip at Paris. We stayed in a parlor suite, which sounds way fancier than it is, but it does give you more space. We did have a shoot on the 2nd day at Oming's Kitchen. This is a food truck that turned into 2 different brick and mortar restaurants, and it serves amazing Filipino cuisine. We highly recommend it. Thankfully, Paris has a fridge because we had so many leftovers. Again, a perk of filming at restaurants. After 6 nights back home, we were back on the strip at the Cromwell, and this time, fortunately, we had a much nicer room than we did in January when we stayed there. We did have friends visiting during this time, and there was, of course, also a tier credit multiplier, which brought us to the strip. Day 1 was a fun day, but day 2, still fun, but you guessed it, we had to film for the show. So we headed to Harrah's to interview Big Elvis, which is an awesome show that takes place on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays multiple times. And it's a free show, and it's in the piano bar right when you enter Harrah's. Then later that evening, we headed over to the Luxor to interview Carrot Top and catch his show. He is such an awesome guy, and his show is hilarious. So that is one of the shows on the strip that we wish we would have seen earlier, and we highly, highly recommend people checking this out.
After 3 days back at home, we were back on the strip for St. Patrick's Day. We stayed in an unusual room over at Flamingo for 3 nights. Day 1 was all for fun. We then headed downtown, which was fun for St. Patrick's Day, and we also hung out on the strip afterwards. The next day was a rewards credit multiplier, which we did manage to squeeze in some gambling, but we actually had 2 shoots that day. One with our real estate expert Randy Hatata from Expand Realty over at the Grand Canal Shops in the morning, and then the next one was over at the Orleans with Matthew and Natasha, the Conjurers. This is a great show that's over at the venue in the Orleans, which I love the Orleans. You hear me talk about it all the time when we do our lives. The next day was all about fun and gambling since it was a tier credit multiplier as well. Plus, this area is so much fun with quick access to several casinos and, of course, the Link Promenade.
After 4 days, we were back at Planet Hollywood for a night to see friends who were in town visiting from Hawaii. This was a quick visit, but we did realize the day that we were checking out that there was a tier credit multiplier. And you know what? That's happened a lot where it has not been announced in the app or on the kiosk, and it's just kind of a surprise when you swipe in. So that's why we always say, make sure to swipe in and check your app. And the last 2 nights, we were back at the Flamingo in the Habitat Tower. My niece and her husband were visiting, and they had never been to Vegas. So you know, for first timers, we were all over the strip. We even did extra stuff like the Shelby Museum and went to an event for Jersey Boys and got to check out that awesome show. That stay totaled 11 days in March.
All right, so if you're keeping track, we're 3 months into the year at this point, and we've stayed 30 days, an entire month so far on the strip. 1/3 of the year so far we've been on the strip. We did take a break for 11 days back at home before heading back for 3 nights when our friends from Colorado were visiting. The rooms at Horseshoe are just fine, definitely not updated, and oddly, the pool wasn't even open yet. This was our first pool time on the strip, so day 1, we headed over to Paris because they are connected and you can use either one of the pools. The next day, we headed over to Caesar's Palace, which was great. We had a great time at the pool. Definitely one of our favorite pools in Vegas.
And after 4 nights at home, we were back on the strip, this time at Planet Hollywood. We actually had a shoot first that day before we checked in, and Carlos actually got to attend it since it was more of a social media shoot at a friend's house. And then on day 2 at Planet Hollywood, we got to check out the pool. Unfortunately, it was not the best weather, but we still had a fun time. And we just love Planet Hollywood because they have a big tub, the rooms are nice, and of course, ABC Store is right there for cheap drinks and snacks. And the morning before heading home, we did have a shoot for the show at Siegel's Bagel Mania. This is just off the strip, kind of near the convention center. And that place, when you walk in, it just smells amazing and the food is amazing. And you definitely want to add that to your list as a place to grab breakfast or lunch, brunch while you're staying on the strip. And now, I can't even make this up. 2 days later, we were back at Caesar's Palace. We actually paid for an upgrade during this stay just to make sure that we had a tub because we had booked the Julius Tower, which does not typically have tubs in the room. But we just love staying at Caesar's because it's more of a chill, relaxing experience, and especially because you have that jacuzzi tub. It's just so relaxing after you do all that walking on the strip. Plus, during this stay, we were celebrating that our show was debuting nationwide on Cox Cable, so we treated ourselves with that upgrade and also a trip to Chinatown for all-you-can-eat sushi.
All right. So we took a much needed break for 10 days and we were itching to get back. We checked into Caesar's Palace for one night because we had an event over at Flamingo at Bugsy's and then X Burlesque. Yes, this is a topless burlesque show and the dancing is amazing. So talented, these women. It is definitely something to see if you're looking to see a more risque show. We literally left the next day and spent the night at home, but then went right back for night 39 at Park MGM. Now, we love this property. We did use a My Vegas reward, so all we had to pay was resort fee and the resort fee associated with the taxes. It was nice to spend time on this end of the strip since we typically don't get down that way. We do enjoy Park MGM, and we did do a couple of room tours and a video documenting our stay at the property. Check it out. That's going to be in the description below. We did head over to Caesar's Palace, where we checked in for another night on the strip and end this crazy staycation. We did a ton of exploring. We walked all over the place, and we had to stop back at the room and enjoy the jacuzzi.
So just recapping this is just unbelievable for us. I mean, 40 nights on the strip in this short amount of time in the year is just crazy. We've literally spent a third of the year on the strip already and loved every minute of it. It was definitely not like the time that we spent 18 nights on the strip while we were moving between houses. It was just a lot more for convenience for when we had events and filming for work. And you know what? It's just fun. And yes, in that short time, we were able to make Diamond Plus for 2025.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on this one. We want to hear from you. What is the longest that you've ever stayed in Vegas? If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like. We'll see you guys next time. Ninth Island Connection highlights Las Vegas businesses, entertainment, events, and activities on and off the strip, keeping our viewers connected with the Ninth Island of Las Vegas. From local mom and pop restaurants to those owned and operated by top chefs, from kitchen action to the inspiration behind the dishes, we deliver the culinary creations of Vegas. From Las Vegas entertainers and athletes to all of the exciting activities and experiences around the Vegas Valley, we keep our viewers connected with all of the excitement that the entertainment capital of the world has to offer. Of course, we can't forget about the casinos that make Vegas, Vegas, with exclusive tours of the incredible amenities and beautiful accommodations, getting right in the heart of the casino floor action and entertainment, as well as interviews with casino owners, CEOs, GMs, and executive chefs. We bring the Las Vegas Casino into our viewers' homes. Highlighting lesser-known areas like the Fremont East District, the Arts District, and Brewery Row, we bring attention to these small businesses that have become fast favorites in the local community. We bring our viewers a complete Vegas experience. We also invite our viewers along as we venture into the great outdoors of the Las Vegas Valley, sharing short road trips, hikes, and the unique sights found in the Mojave Desert. Great people, great stories, great connections, only on Ninth Island Connections.